YouTubers, this is Geographic Scholar, and the video I wanted to present today was about capital cities and their geographic significance. Now, when you look at a lot of the states here in this country and you look at places like Ohio, Indiana, Iowa, you notice that, the capital city is centrally located, Des Moines, Iowa, smack dab in the center of Iowa, Indiana's capital, Indianapolis, in the middle. Ohio's capital, Columbus, in the middle. It was meant to be centrally located so it could be reached on all corners of the state. However, you look at some capital cities, it's not really the case today. You look at Florida's capital, Tallahassee. It's located on the far north part of the state, far away from a lot of large population centers, because on that part of Florida, the Panhandle, the nearest big city is Jacksonville. Actually, Jacksonville is technically the largest city in Florida by population. However, Jacksonville is not the biggest population center for Florida. That would be the Miami area, followed by the Tampa Bay area. When you look at Tallahassee, it's sort of, tucked away. It's not... I'm going to give you a little history lesson about Florida. Florida, when you really think about Florida, up until about maybe the early to mid 20th century, most of Florida's population lived not that far from the Florida-Georgia border. In fact, if you really think about it, the city of Miami was not incorporated until 1896. And it was founded as a response to the frost that killed some orange crops in the northern part of Florida, because when you really think about it, Julia Tuttle, who was a citrus grower and from Ohio, she convinced Henry Flagler that the orange grove should be moved further south. And she tried to convince him, move the railroad down to Miami, because that's a better place, to have your railroad. She convinced him to do that. But before that, most of the population in Florida lived around the Panhandle region of Florida, and even you look all the way back to when it was first being settled. You have St. Augustine, Florida, on the northeast coast of Florida. When it was getting started, it was a major settlement. And you go all the way up until maybe 1900. You look at the city of Tampa, Florida. Tampa, Florida didn't have even 1,000 residents until maybe 1890 or 1900. It didn't even have, we think about Tampa, Florida today, we think about it, the Tampa Bay area being, a major population center with major league sports like the Tampa Bay Rays and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. However, the population of Tampa did not even reach that high did not even reach 1,000 people until after 1880. And then after that, it started to skyrocket. And with St. Petersburg wasn't even founded until 1888. And it was founded, as the terminus for a railroad. It didn't become incorporated as a city until 1888. So when you really look at it, most of old Florida's population was in the northern part of Florida. So that's where they put the capital of Florida. Today that has changed. With the citrus industry having moved much further south, with a lot of settlement of people coming from northern states and people coming from other countries, moving into Miami, moving into Tampa, moving into Orlando, the population, the major concentration of population has shifted towards the southern part of Florida. And I can give you another example of capital city like Juneau, Alaska. Actually, the old capital for the Russian territory of Alaska when it was under the Russians. The old capital, it used to be known as New Archangel. It used to be known as New Archangel. It changed its name to Sitka. However, the capital would be moved to Juneau because you had relatively more settlement there. Granted, there was settlement all over Alaska, but when Russia took control of Alaska and they started building some settlements, a lot of them were being built around the southwest part of Alaska, where Juneau and Sitka are. Now, we need to really think about this. The largest population center for Alaska is Anchorage. Anchorage was not even founded until 1914. And it was founded mainly because they were building the railroad. It was supposed to be a big railroad port. And you had people coming in, and it became sort of a tent city. It was incorporated in 1920. So Anchorage, compared to most of Alaska, is quite young when you really think about it. And you think about California's capital, Sacramento. Now, you got to think about the gold rush and all of that. There was a lot of people getting into the gold rush around San Francisco and in other places in that region of California. So at the time, Sacramento might have made decent sense to have, the capital there because a lot of people were headed there. Now a lot of people started heading to Los Angeles towards the 20th century for many, many reasons, from work with the aerospace, with airplanes and stuff like that, to Hollywood. And then in San Diego, you have the military and you have a lot of other industries down there. And then you got another, what do you think of another thing, another capital city we could do an example of? That was the explanation why, now when you really think about it, Sacramento is somewhat of a major city for California, It is a rather large city. It's not large compared to Los Angeles, San Francisco, or San Diego, but, it's a decent sized city. They've got the NBA there for now. Then, so that is my explanation about the geography of state capitals. And you got a place like Columbus, Ohio, where it's centrally located, and then you've got Tallahassee, Florida, which is pretty much far away from most big population centers because at the time of its founding at the time of its founding, that was a major area of settlement. But, you know, that's what I have to say about that. If you have any comments, leave it in the comment box. Remember to like and subscribe. Thank you.